Welcome to the program. This morning we'll talk about, will this rally continue? We'll get an update on US reporting season, and ahead of our own local earnings season, we'll get the report card on BHP and Rio. I'm Marty Switzer.
I'm Peter Switzer.
I'm Paul Rickard.
And we're mad about money.
How was that intro?
Terrific, mate. He was pumped.
Excellent. First question, Pete.
Good question.
Yeah, market's had a good run over the past week.
Love it.
Really. I guess you could almost say booming. Your thoughts on what's going to happen next?
Yeah, you have to think there's going to be a bit of a sell-off. It's just been so good. And I guess it will depend on our reporting season, which comes in August. I don't think there will be a test until then. Fortunately, the US reporting season, which we'll talk about in a moment, has been doing pretty well. So I think the optimism is going to stay up there, Marty, unless some surprise curveball comes along. But I think the momentum forward is going to come off the boil a little bit, just like we saw yesterday.
Paul, do you think this rally will have legs, or any?
Yeah, look, it's got good legs. I mean,
Interesting.
a number of the fund managers seem to have been caught a little bit short, or at least I say underinvested. But
Yeah,
I do think
smart Alex were wrong.
I do think, I mean, with Peter on this one, that it's been such a grind over the last 2 years. It's very hard to see why it's not going to continue to be a grind. So we either need superb earnings, the US season to continue really strongly, and we'll come to that, or we're going to need really strong local earnings coming up in August. And I think in the next couple of weeks we won't get it, so a bit of a pullback I think is probably overdue.
And in terms of the catalyst for earnings season, what do you think, what will we be looking for? Will it be top line growth, or will it be bottom line growth?
I think people want to see top line growth. I mean, we've picked that up from the US, so revenues are really important. I mean, obviously, they'll look at the earnings per share data, but they'll really want to see that there is some actual momentum in the economy, and companies are actually able to, apart from cut cost, are actually able to grow revenue.
And outlook statements, Marty. This is what the Americans are getting a little bit hot to trot about. The outlook statements coming out are pretty good, and that's been a long time.
They have been revised down. I mean, there've been negative earnings now of the US for a number of years.
Yeah.
And they're also saying in the same hand that it's about as low as they can get. So they've got to get better. But you're right. If the companies are positive about what's in the store over the next 3 months or 6 months, the market will respond to that.
I think I heard the bell, so let's go onto US earnings season. As Paul said, it had the last couple of seasons have been negative. The reports so far, Pete, have been more positive. Your thoughts on what's happening so far, and do you think it'll be a positive earnings season?
Well, I think Charlie argued with me last night. It still could be negative, but a lot better. He reckons it's the last negative, and he's looked at the outlook statements, and they're kind of alluding to that. But what I've loved is that banks have done a lot better than expected. That's really good. And overnight, Microsoft came out with a very good report. I was kind of looking at the reports. Microsoft could have disappointed. It's doing well in its cloud business, and the cloud is the big game for all businesses.
McDonald's reported well too.
Exactly, and they've been struggling of late.
Paul, your thoughts on US earnings season so far?
Yeah, look, been impressed. I mean, it's great to see some of the banks going better. I mean, I think what they've been liked about the bank results is the so-called interest margin squeeze, and we're getting down into not quite negative interest rates in the US, but margins get squeezed as simply as you can't. What you can pay depositors, you can't take it any lower, and of course what you lend at has to come down as rates get squeezed. So the margin squeeze hasn't been as bad as they expected. I mean, that's the real problem in Europe. I mean, if their bank results can stand up okay, it actually all goes well for our market, perhaps taking a slightly more positive reassessment of our banks. But notwithstanding that, more noise last night, a couple of experts from the US, capital has to go up, so we've got to get through that capital cycle first.
Let's move on to BHP and Rio. A report came out from BHP Billiton today. Earnings season, confession season, not far away. Your thoughts on the miners, Paul, and how they'll perform? Yeah,
I mean, look, they've both done pretty well on the market. I mean, Rio back above $50, BHP got to the $20.
Depending on when you got in.
Yeah, depending when you got in. I mean, so off BHP we did get to 13, I think there's a big figure 13 very briefly, maybe 14. So back up to
14, 20, I remember, but there's probably a bit
back over $20 was that's. My maths is fading me here, but it's over a third of 33%.
7 on 13.
$6 on 14.
So it's almost 50%. Yeah. Look, BHP's come out this morning. Its production data looks okay. I mean, it's pretty well on guidance, but it's also announced it's going to take a small write-down with the June results of up to 175 million US dollars. They're all basically to do with things like redundancies, and it's going to write down some of its coal business. But with
BHP still a bet on China though, and commodity prices.
I mean, the second half is still going to be weak. I mean, if you look at also in their data today, they talk about the average price they've achieved this half versus last half. In most commodities, it's still lower than last half. So there's there's no, they're doing what they can. They're cutting costs. Production they're sort of pushing back a little bit on. They're writing down assets, but there's no silver lining just in terms of these companies just yet. And you've got to think that maybe back up to $20 and $50 in Rio, they've had a pretty good run.
Yeah,
mine as a buy, Peter.
Yeah, look, not now. I think they were a great buy at 14. Missed that. We got in about 16. I wanted to see the trend, so we've done well. 16 to 20. It could easily pull back to $18. But remember, this was a $30-odd stock on average, wasn't it? And then it dropped down to 14. That was a massive oversell. This is one of the greatest mining companies of all time, going through a tough patch, when commodity prices are down. I think we had a pretty good result, particularly when they robbed us on the dividend, but at least the capital gain.
And the other thing, which sort of is cloud over BHP, is the whole Samarco thing is still just drags on, and you never don't know how that's going to play out yet. So look, there's some good and bad news. I think the market will probably say this is okay today. Rio they sort of took as basically broadly okay yesterday, but they're not going crazy on the production. I think that's probably the main thing, and they're working pretty hard in their cost base.
Right. That's all we've got time for. I'm Marty Switzer.
I'm Peter Switzer.
I'm Paul Rickard.
And we're mad about money.